Welcome. Go ahead and have a seat. We're going to start with our breathing activity just to kind of bring us into group and help us relax. As I ring the chime, I just want you to take some deep breaths and just listen to the chime. I don't want you to think about anything else that went on this morning before you came to class or at home this morning. I just want you to focus on the sound of the chime. And when you hear the chime quit ringing, I want you just to put your thumb up and let me know that you no longer hear it. Okay, so if you just want to take a couple deep breaths with me first, we'll just breathe in. And then breathe out. And breathe in again. And breathe out. You can feel yourself start to settle into group a little bit here. One last big breath for me. I'm going to ring the chime, and like I said, I just want you to focus on the sound of the chime. I don't want you to focus on any outside noises, anything that happened in your other classes, anything that happened at home, anything that you have stressing you. I just want you to focus on the sound of the chime. Like no one's hearing the chime any longer. Let's do that one more time. Again, just focusing on the sound of the chime, forgetting about everything else right now so that we can become ready to focus here. Okay, one last time. Welcome to class today. I'm so glad that you're all here today. Today we have a couple of things that we're going to work on. Our learning goals are I can be aware of myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, my likes and my dislikes. And our second learning goal that we're going to be focusing on is I can be an advocate for myself. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to read you a story about a high school student named Mike. I want you guys to listen carefully while I read the story. I want you to listen for situations in the story that are similar or different from your experiences. Mike is a 17-year-old high school student who has a learning disability. He attends the general education classroom for all classes except English. He has always had a difficult time with spelling, reading, and writing legibly. He attends Mrs. Jones's special education classroom for English. Mike has heard his teachers and mom talk about his IEP, but he is not sure what an IEP is and has never been interested enough to ask. He also knows that his mom comes to the school at least once a year for an IEP meeting. Last year, his special education teacher invited Mike to the meeting, but he hated the idea of sitting around a table with all his teachers while they talked about him. When Mike takes a test for history or science class, he usually goes to the special education classroom to have Mrs. Jones read the test to him. Most of the time, he does not have to answer all the questions, just the ones Mrs. Jones or his classroom teacher has circled on the test. He rarely is required to answer the essay questions on the test. When he finishes his test, Mrs. Jones puts it in a large envelope and places it in her desk. The only time Mike sees his test again is if he did poorly on it and needs to make corrections. Mike does not understand who decides if he would take his test this way, but he likes the routine because it makes it easier for him to pass his tests. Mike will be a senior next year and is looking forward to graduation. He plans to attend a local college after graduation and believes he should do well since he has always earned passing grades in his classes. Okay? I want you to think about Mike's situation here. And I want you to think, is there anything in Mike's story that you can relate to in your life? Okay? What, if anything, do you have in common with Mike? Okay? You can also, I'm going to give you a copy of the story, so if you want to look back through it, You can also highlight items that are similar that you notice in the test, okay? So go ahead and read back through Mike's story if you want, or if you already can think of the things that you know that you can relate to that are similar to Mike's life, or things that you notice that you have in common with Mike. All right, let's go ahead and come back. I see some of you highlighted a few things in Mike's story that were similar, or maybe that you noticed that you've heard before here at school. Let's go ahead and share. Okay, yeah, you have an IEP and your mom or parents come to school every year. Okay, good. Okay, have you ever been to your IEP meeting? No? Okay, so you're similar to Mike in that aspect. Okay,